Welcome to LBM Talks Social Media. I'm Sally Lacey, the social media manager for LBM Journal, and every other week I have conversations with lumber dealers from around the country about how they're using social media to grow their business. I hope you stick around, because it's time to get social.
Sally Keen-Denton and Ryan McAnally. Hi, welcome to LBM Talk Social Media. I'm so happy to have you guys here.
We're so happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's such an honor to be able to come on your show.
Well, it's a privilege to be able to talk to you guys and really anybody who gives me their time to hear what you guys have to say. Let's just start out with some introductions of who you guys are, who you work for, what you do, how long you've been doing it. Take it away.
Cool. Well, I'm Sally Keen-Denton. I am our current marketing specialist here at Wilson Lumber, and I've had a few different positions, mostly in our sales team. Most recently, I was our business development representative. And I have been on this team with Ryan for about a year doing marketing for our third generation family owned and operated company.
So my name is Ryan McAnally, and I've been here for, going on a year now with Sally and at Wilson Lumber Company. I'm really excited to jump on board in marketing here. So I'm the marketing and communications manager, and Sally and I kind of represent the team here as far as a marketing function. So we have a lot to do. We have a lot of fun. We try to have a lot of fun and a lot to manage, of course, that we have a lot of projects that are always ongoing, but yeah.
So I'm curious, you guys are this overarching umbrella of marketing, which entails a lot of things, social media being one of them. Mm-hmm. I'm just kind of curious what your guys' thoughts are when it comes to how social media fits into your broader kind of marketing strategy. How do you guys use it? What's its purpose for you guys at Wilson Lumber?
Ryan, you want to take that?
Sure, I'd love to. I think either one of us could probably answer this, but because we know the name of the game, but I think how social media specifically fits into our digital marketing strategy is that we have to engage people, right? I mean, that's just bottom line. Is anybody who's in a business has to engage people because your customers are people. I know that sounds very elementary, but like it's very basic. Where the people are, you got to go. So if our audience is on TikTok, we're going to have to move to TikTok. If our audience is on Instagram, Facebook, all the metas, or on LinkedIn, then we have to be in those places. So I think kind of gone are the days of relying totally on traditional marketing, I would say. And I think that sometimes this industry, from what I can kind of surmise, I think our industry does kind of lean towards traditional marketing techniques. So pulling us, up from the bootstraps out into the full digital marketing landscape is kind of where we want to go.
I would echo that. And just, with the rise of millennial and even Gen Z customers and builders, I think that is a lot of, research shows like that's how people are doing business. They're using Instagram as a search engine and they're using those as research tools. So we want to be there. We want to be visible and use that as kind of our portfolio of who Wilson Lumber is. We're getting it to be the bigger piece, like a bigger piece. We definitely have a lot of other inbound marketing strategies. We're still doing a lot of in-person events with our sales team and our customers, but I would say we're growing our social media.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that too. And I was just looking at some stats this morning from our LinkedIn. I think we started our official company page in 24.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to me. So
in 24, interesting.
In 24. Which is fine. You think your audience lives in Facebook or Instagram or vice versa, maybe in LinkedIn, but then sometimes some of these social apps will kind of die down and lower in popularity, and your audience base might trickle to a different social media platform. So you kind of have to move with them a little bit. But LinkedIn has been great for us as far as engaging our kind of like our target audience. So being able to consistently post on there and engage with others that we know in the industry or we don't know yet in the industry, or to maybe have a conversation with someone who is talking about something of interest to us, just to be a voice in the conversation. That's really helpful for us in growing our actual platform with them.
So speaking of your audience, can you tell me a little bit who your target audience is? And where you do find them. So you mentioned you're on LinkedIn, but the other platforms also?
Our target audience is different for each platform, to be honest. We see that a lot of let me back up a little bit. So Wilson Lumber, we service residential home builders. We service residential retail customers, but we also have a large multifamily and commercial division. So we have a lot of different departments within our sales team. And each one of those requires a different strategy as far as marketing to their target customer. So our installed sales team is really focused on Facebook and Instagram for the retail homeowner who's going to look at replacing windows and doors. But then our broader residential team is working with custom home builders, semi-custom production style home builders. And a lot of those builders are on LinkedIn, and same goes for our multifamily. So we really have honed in with each platform and what our strategy is for each platform.
Our audiences, we can kind of segment them based on the social media platform, right? It's really interesting. And that might be true for other, lumber yards or whatever too, or it may not. But we found that, our commercial audience is primarily living in LinkedIn, and then residential audience is primarily in Instagram and Facebook. So just knowing which content to create and tailor for each of those audiences is the fun part to figure out. It's the challenge.
It's the puzzle.
It's the puzzle. It's where the creativity gets to shine. Sally Keene-Denton, I'll have to say that just to make sure we distinguish in this podcast. SKD, sometimes I refer to as SKD. She's really great at coming up with these really great ideas for reels. So she'll involve employees, she'll involve customers, and whether it's like celebrating a customer's anniversary with us, or their anniversary being in business, or celebrating the Olympics that just happened and doing something real crazy and off the wall there. Those things are much more higher engaging on our Instagram and Facebook reels versus maybe LinkedIn, where it's a little more curated differently.
I would love to hear, we're talking about these creative ideas you have, Sally, just what your guys' process for content creation looks like. But I'm also curious what you have found is kind of most successful.
So I would say, the first part of your question was kind of like how we come up with our content. So we have 3 brand pillars. When Ryan and I first started as a team, we kind of took a real look at what the social media strategy had been previously, and we sat down and we said, here's what the 3 kind of content pillars are going to be. And it's brand awareness, recruiting, because we do have an HR team that needs help with recruiting, and that can be a lot of different things. And then our inbound marketing strategy. So obviously we do want this to drive people back to our website, to drive sales in a way without being salesy, right? And so content needs to fit in one of those 3 brand pillars. Now, sometimes do I kind of stretch my pitch to Ryan a little bit about like, this works, this is brand awareness, this is so-and-so. Sure, but those are kind of our guiding goalposts per se. But as far as like fun, engaging, people want to know people. People want to walk in and be like, oh, I know that guy. I saw him on the Wilson Lumber Instagram. They want to be able to have a face that they recognize. So anytime that we have the ability to integrate our sales team, whether that is for the Lumberyard Olympics, which let me tell you, I thought I was going to have to pull more teeth to get people to be in that video.
I'm sorry, the which one? I didn't really hear you.
We did a Lumberyard Olympics video this summer. And so I had, I thought I was going to have a hard time getting participants because we did some silly stuff. But no, that was an easy one. We've done like a joke day reel, tell us a lumber themed or a construction themed joke. Different reels like that have engaged our crew. But yeah, so I would say that a lot of it's brand awareness, right? We want people to know who we are. I worked down the street from Wilson Lumber for 8 years and had no idea all of the options and solutions they had for my customers. And so I want to be able to make that very known to not just Huntsville and North Alabama, but we service the Southeast. And so we really have that goal in mind with our content to engage more than just, our radius. Although we are highly community focused and, all of that, we're definitely trying to expand our reach. Folks love seeing what our cares team is up to. Whether that's with our community partner, which is currently Next Step Farms, so that's here locally, or whether it's, on a global scale with our trips to Guatemala 3 times a year. Content like that, people want to, see who they're doing business with and see what we're up to in that regard. And so any kind of, event like that is wonderful, and we get great engagement from that. We also get great employee engagement, right? Especially on Facebook, I would say. They're resharing it. Their families are seeing it and commenting on it, things like that. And then we see great engagement from exciting events that we have, whether that's being named LBM Journal's Dealer of the Year for 2025 or our recent acquisition. Obviously big, I would call them life events, are going to get a lot of excitement and traction. Those don't happen every day. I mean, sure, we've had a very busy quarter, but events like that don't happen every day. So you kind of have to have that strategy and plan in the back of your mind to be able to implement. We see a lot of great traction on LinkedIn with our thought leadership, with our CEO, Rob Wilson, our president, Josh Hendrickson, and our director, or VP of Sales and Marketing, Gordon Staley. So we see great traction with the thought leadership stuff that we've got going on. And so those leaders are posting kind of just thoughts and insights, not necessarily about the industry, sometimes yes, but on a broader scale, more about leadership. And that is in and of itself brand awareness and showing off our culture and our commitment, to our core values. So we see great traction with that on LinkedIn. I think people want those leadership tidbits and advice, right? And we're doing it in a small way that's digestible.
100%. Did you?
Yeah, sorry, Ryan. I took all the air out of the room just then.
You took it all, and you deserve it all. Like you're spot on. Like, I mean, really, just to recap, like events that if we can ever get a camcorder. I'm showing my age. We can ever get a video camera in the room to record an event of any kind. I mean, there's going to be more engagement, right? If you can, and just like. If I had to offer advice to other dealers or builders or whoever, really any company that can take the advice that if you have something going on, pull out your camera, encourage your employees to do it, and then just hit record because you're gonna get engagement. And if you get your employees in on this too, which Sally just said, our employees, they highly engage, especially on LinkedIn. It's pretty incredible. They want to be a part of this momentum that's being built. So that's part of it's part of it's the culture. We have great culture here, as do many other companies. But there's a great culture here that just we all want to kind of feed off of the energy. So when you get the employees on board, you really build up that engagement in LinkedIn. So one thing you didn't mention, Sally, that I was waiting for you to say was women in construction.
Women in construction, yes.
The women in construction event we just had, I would say that's probably one of our highest engaging in the past 30 days or maybe 90 days. because, we like to highlight the fact that, everybody matters in our workplace, including the women that work here. So, having events like that, it's super important. And people realize that, and they recognize that, and they want to support it. So let them support it. Hit record, and put it on LinkedIn, and let them support your stuff.
For sure.
Exactly. It's like, what's the harm in that? You're just giving somebody an opportunity to understand your business more, to understand your people more.
For sure. I think it's that old adage, right, of everything is content. I would say like almost everything is content, right?
Yeah.
We need to be a little
not
choosy
everything.
But I think sometimes it can be daunting, and you might get stuck in the weeds and go like, should we post this? Should we not post this? And almost all the time it's just post it, right? Like,
right.
Put it out there.
Right. Yeah, you guys, that was really great. Thank you for highlighting the things that are doing well. It sounds like you guys, you're kind of analyzing your statistics, metrics, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of common to say that ROI for social media can't be measured. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to hear your guys' take on that. Like, what is kind of success for you? How do you measure success for being on social media?
Ryan, you take the jump on that.
Sure. I think there's a lot. There's a large conversation around this all the time. It's just continually in the marketing space where, can you actually measure the ROI off of likes and comments and shares? Well, yes and no. I think that we can definitely share. I think we can definitely measure. We can measure the engagement, right? It shows our analytics right there on the dashboard. That's really good. And if these folks are making purchases, then there's got to be some way to show and correlate. I mean, there's a correlation, so we have to be able to report that and show it like, hey, marketing is providing this kind of support for your customer journey right here. So we need to be able to show that. So one thing we hadn't really talked about yet is part of our strategy when we came on board is we built a whole new marketing strategy focused on digital marketing. And the underlying methodology we use is inbound marketing. So inbound marketing basically is just engaging and delighting our customers at every stage of the journey with us, whether it's they haven't become customers yet or they've been a customer for 30 years and we continue to serve them. So and inbound basically just means we're creating content, whether it be on social media, blogs, newsletters, emails, all that content is going to drive them back to us so we can help support them as their own hero in their own story, basically. So we want to always develop content that's helping them become a hero to their customers and providing with all the support that we can. And that's through education, through blogs, that's through sharing our story. And hey, you come be a part of our story too. We're serving in Guatemala, we're serving here, we're doing good things. We want you to be a part of this. So they get to be a part of our story. But one way I think that we can kind of report on this stuff is one that we will be reporting on this stuff is since we have this methodology in place, we can tie engagements on social media, whether they're Instagram or LinkedIn, we can tie those back to, hey, has this contact ever visited our website? Or they visited our website too. What have they done on our website? Oh, they've looked at 10 different pages about trusses, and they've downloaded this guide about trusses, and they filled out this contact form a couple different times just to ask a couple questions. Well, all of that is tied into their customer journey, right? And so we're able to trace that back to a marketing function that's helping supporting their journey. So really that's how, once they become a customer, we can say like, yeah, marketing did all this to help support part of the sell of this.
We also recycle content in a way. So meaning like Rob has a customer blog, like a blog that he publishes monthly, but then we also put that in our customer newsletter. And then occasionally we make that a LinkedIn post, or if it's fitting for Instagram and Facebook, we turn it into maybe a quote from it, and drive, again, that inbound strategy of driving people back to our website. But I think that's important too for people who are getting started with social media, is you don't have to create new content for every platform. You just might have to repackage it a little differently for it to be successful on each platform. I think when I finally realized that I'm a chronically online millennial. I have had my own personal social media foray into like influencing, and I've had a blog in the past and those kinds of things. So I think when I first kind of realized, like, I don't have to be out here creating new content for every single platform. You just have to repackage it differently. That became so freeing. And for sure, with us being a 2-person marketing team and having a lot of other marketing tasks to accomplish, it helps us streamline our social media strategy.
I like that perspective of maybe you kind of get people on social media, you're engaging with them, but what's the next step they can take to like interact with your company? Mm-hmm. And it sounds like that's going to the website, getting more information, maybe, just seeing how they can more interact. I really like that. And it also sounds very like a very intricate process that you were talking about, Ryan, where like you can look at the individual person, like you can kind of track them, which I don't mean to say track in a weird way, but I think it's actually, it seems like then you're closer with these people and your customers, prospects, whatever, and kind of like, sounds kind of like community. You're just getting closer with them, valuing them. Very interesting.
You're dead on. Like when you're able to, and we're not tracking them in a creepy way, but we are tracking them in a helpful way. So by tracking, we can say that, perhaps someone has engaged on a social media post that SKD put out, and maybe she put a link in the comments to an article that she was referring to. And that article lands on our website. So they go there and they want to read more, and they want to learn more about this pain point they're having and how to solve it. So they click into the comments, they click, and it goes to our website. We have a new website visitor, right? So if they want to learn more, maybe they download a guide, or they sign up for our customer newsletter, which is going to give them information, on a biweekly basis or a weekly basis. So they're always getting more information on hopefully solving some pain points of their own, walking with them in their journey until they onboard with us. Hopefully, that's the target. Is they'll see that we might be the best fit for whatever pain point they have to solve that pain point. But once we collect, really you can't really track. It doesn't really do much good to track a visitor until you have their email address, their first and last name. Other than before that, they're just a number in your database, and you want to, like you said, this is a conversation you want to have with them. You want to nurture that lead. You want to develop them and share just more information with them as they need it.
Interesting. This is I'm really enjoying this conversation. And this was honestly where I thought it was going to lead, was into, like marketing. This is just a great episode to just kind of talk about the more marketing side of how social media can be a part of that. So this is awesome. Yeah. And it sounds like you guys, it's very interesting to hear just your kind of strategy of being digital and basically just offering your customers or these people information, everything that they need to help make a decision or to get in contact with you or anything like that. Awesome.
For sure. Yeah. Social media is super important in that strategy.
Mm-hmm. So just a couple more questions. One is if you guys have any future goals for, social media to help with what you're trying to do.
I would say video, is our next really big push and goal. We've utilized a videographer in the past. All of our YouTube content, or I would say the bulk of our YouTube content is all professionally shot videos. But, working on more vertical video is
Nice.
at least my goal. But yeah, it's our team's social media strategy goal. So
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, vertical, video formats. LinkedIn even just shifted to having like a reel type format,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
kind of cool. Yeah, like Sally said, so we're doing the video thing, and I would say we're also trying to bring more video as an in-house function of our own. So we're hoping to be able to capture more, day-to-day stuff. So we do that with our basically our phones right now, which is great. It's a great tool. We want to try to step it up if we can, and use some bigger equipment, things like that. And maybe a drone. We
I
keep
know
on
we keep talking about it.
we keep on getting requests for getting a drone, so we want to do that. It's just there's always something to do. So
We might need to call Big C Lumber. Don't they have it? Didn't I listen to that? Don't they have a drone?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. You could ask for recommendations.
Yeah, exactly.
that's right.
Well, that's a great goal. Good luck with that. When I reflect on like video for myself, I'm just thinking it's a lot of work.
It is.
Because it's also kind of like with just the content that you're videoing, trying to get people to be in videos and even yourself. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah. Content creation is a lot.
It
There's
really is.
It looks so easy and simple when you see the final product, but there are so many steps along the way to get to
Right.
that final product.
So my last question, kind of how we close it out here, is just a piece of advice that both of you would give to an aspiring LBM dealer who just wants to grow their presence on social media for their business.
I think my advice is start small. That's to any business starting a social media is pick a platform and start there. I think it can be so overwhelming if you try to do all of it at once, right? Everyone's like, should I get a TikTok? Should I not? Should I do this? Should I do Instagram? Should I do Facebook? And I think you just pick one and spend your focus and your energy there and allow that to grow. And then, get yourself in a rhythm and you can move on to other platforms as you see fit for your business.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that too. I would say start small, like you said, and don't worry about building out the don't make it crazy. Like just pull out your phone, like I said, and shoot something that's interesting in your workplace, whether it's like a day in the life type video or if it's just like an event happening or somebody's birthday. Start there. You want to niche it down eventually to kind of cater that content to your specific audience you really want to reach. But I mean, we're all people, we can all relate on some level. So the find that sweet spot for your content to resonate with your audience.
Well, that wraps up the episode. I just want to say thank you to both of you for being generous with your time and everything that you know and do in a day-to-day with me.
Well, Sally, thank you for asking us to even be on. Thanks for thinking that we had something to share. So we appreciate all you do for the industry.
Yeah, it was an honor coming on here. Appreciate you reaching out to us.